Hello everyone, Tanasa here with ActionVFX.
In this video, we are going to learn how to do these smoke trail effects inspired by Morbius in Adobe After Effects. To achieve these effects, we will be using ActionVFX asset collections such as cigarette smoke,
Rising steam, and steam jets.
Other than these Morbius effects, we are also planning to do a Doctor Strange related tutorial sometime soon, so don't forget to click that subscribe button so you will not miss that out. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so here is my plate. The first thing I'm going to do is to mask out myself here from the background. So we want to do some manual rotoscoping or rotobrush to isolate myself, which I have already done before. Here I have this rendered out roto of myself as a black and white color matte here, which of course you can see that it's not super perfect, but it is good enough to do the job for this particular shot. So what I want to do is to first duplicate the original plate that we have, and then we want to luma matte it to this duplicated matte layer. And there we go. We have separated me from the background. Next, we're gonna pre-compose these matte layers. And there we go. And of course, you can download this plate and the color matte in the description below. So we want to have the smoke effects to emit from several parts of my body here, which means we need to track my body parts that will emit the smoke. And we are going to do that in Mocha. So let's bring this Mocha for AE here to our mask plate pre-comp, and then let's click the symbol to go to Mocha. So now in Mocha, what I want to do is I want to separate the tracks based on the movement or depth in the scene. So each body parts that will emit smoke will have different trackers. So let's grab this spline tool, and I want to draw a mask on my head because I want to track the head. And then after that, I'm going to track some area on the shoulder. And then I also want to have a smoke coming out from the sleeve. So we are going to create a dedicated tracking layer for that also. And then let's track the forearm. And then I also want to track the hand. Now you can see that my hand is rotating to the side a little bit. So we want to capture that parallax of my hand turning. So let's create a shape on the surface of my hand here. And then let's turn the Show Planar Track button here. And then on the motion, let's check on perspective. That way, we could track the perspective of my hand. And there we go. We can see that we are able to track the hand turning. Now we have all the track that we need. Let's close and save. Now, back in After Effects, let's apply our tracking data to null objects. So let's create a null here. And for the first one, let's name it head. And then let's select our plate again. And then on Mocha, let's create track data. And we are going to select our head track that we just made earlier. And then on the export option here, we're going to select transform and select the target to the null object that we just made and then apply. And there we go. We have a null point that is tracking on our head. Next, we're going to do this again for other trackers. Now for the hand, we are going to do a little bit different. So if we look at the track data of that hand track here, we can see that we have these corner points that is moving on different directions that really emulates the parallax. So what I want is to grab these 2 points on the top here and apply them to 2 different null objects. So let's create 2 nulls. Then we are going to select the track plate again and press E. And then on the Mocha here, we can see our track data. So what we want to do is we're just going to select the top points and copy it. And then on the null, we're going to bring out the position and paste the data on it. And then do it for the other top point. And there we go. Great, so now we have all the tracking data. Let's start adding our smoke effects. So first, let's start with the hand. We are going to first add this steam jet element here, and then we are going to create a mask to subtract out the emission part of the frame. Then let's parent this to the corresponding null, which is the hand track null. Currently, the jet steam here is looking very thick.
So let's add a little bit of texture on it.
So let's add a fractal noise. And then we're going to play around with the contrast of the fractal noise a little bit. And perhaps on the transform here, let's scale it up. And then what I want to do is to add some animation on the fractal noise. I want to have the fractal noise to also move in the same direction as the steam jet. So let's alt click on the offset here and let's type in X equal minus time times 1200. And then y equal, and using the pick whip, let's select the y-axis of this offset. And then open bracket x comma y close bracket. Of course, you can just copy this expression on the description below. So what's happening here is the fractal noise will move along the x-axis indefinitely, while the y-axis or the up and down will stay still. Okay, so now let's reduce the opacity of our steam jet a little bit. Next, what we're going to do is to just duplicate this jet steam and spread it around my hand. And of course, don't forget to reparent the element to the matching null object. Next, let's add another layer of smoke. This time, I want to add this medium steam from our steam collection. And then let's mask this so we don't have a hard edges, and then feather it out. And then once again, we're going to position it to make it look like it's emitting on the same direction of the previous elements. And then we are going to parent it to the null. Now the medium steam is currently moving a little bit too slow. So let's right click, and on the time stretch,
Let's make it faster by 60%.
awesome. So now it's moving way quicker.
So now we can see that the duration of the steam is being shortened. So what I want to do is to fade this one out before it disappears, then duplicate the steam, and then we want to fade in that duplicate.
So then we can duplicate this again and spread it around the scene as well.
Next, let's add a little bit more visible wispy smoke that is coming out of my hand.
So to do that, we are going to use this foreground smoke asset from the cigarette smoke collection. And we're going to do the exact same thing again by masking it, position it to the scene, and then also make it go faster. Now, as we can see that our foreground wispy smoke is a little bit too faint. I want it to be more thicker. So let's get curve, and then switch to alpha here and crank up our alpha brightness. And we have our smoke a little bit more visible. And then of course we want to duplicate this and populate the scene again. Okay, so here I have done populating the smoke that is emitting from the hand. So now what I want to do is to select all the smoke layers and the nulls that they are connected to, and then pre-compose them. Now all we have to do is to just repeat the same thing again to the different body parts. Alright, so here we have all the different smoke pre-comps for the different body parts. Here we have the smoke that is emitting from my head or my hair, and then we have the smoke emitting from my shirt, and then we have another one that is emitting from the cheek. So basically I separated this smoke pre-comp based on the color textures that they will emit. That's why I have the head and the cheek as separate pre-comp groups, because the cheek will emit color from the skin while the head will emit a dark color from the hair. Okay, so now let's add some color to our smoke. So I want to use this smoke as a matte. So let's once again start with the hand first. Now, our current smoke pre-comp has a combination of alpha channel and color channels, and we're just going to need a luminance color matte, which is just a black and white color. So we have a bit too much input. What I want to do is to just streamline it. So let's get a solid composite, and then we are going to turn the background to black. So now I have get rid of all the alpha channel, so now we can just focus on manipulating the color channel that we have here. So next, let's create a solid, and then we're gonna pick a color of my skin here. And then we're just going to luma matte this to the smoke matte. And there we go, we have our smoke
Emitting the color of the hand.
So now what we can do is to just add curve and brighten our smoke a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna do this with the other body parts. So let's add solid composite to the head smoke, and we're going to create another solid and then select the hair color and luma matte it. And here we see that our smoke is a bit way too faint, so let's get curve to the head smoke layer and push up our matte's brightness. Now for the shirt here, we're gonna do something a little bit different, because as you can see, the shirt doesn't have one solid color. It has some patterns on it. So what I want to do is we want to get the average color of this pattern. So to do that, let's duplicate our mask plate here, and then let's mask out only the shirt because that is the part that will be emitting the smoke. And then I'm going to grab a fast blur and blur this really high. So now our plate colors are being blurred together, creating an average color. But then of course we are losing the opacity. So let's get a curve, and then on the curve let's switch to alpha, and let's pull our white point to bring our opaqueness back. And then let's luma matte this to the smoke layer. Great. Now I want to add some curve to the smoke pre-comp just to push the opacity a little bit more. Okay, so everything is looking great. Now let's add some distortion effects to our plate. So let's get an adjustment layer. Just put it below all the effects. And then we're going to add displacement map. And then basically we want to assign this to all of the smoke pre-comps. So let's start with the hand. And then let's push our horizontal displacement a bit. Perfect. Now let's duplicate the effects. Change the source to the other smoke pre-comp and then duplicate again. Finally, I'm gonna add a little bit of atmosphere. So let's add this giant steam, and we are going to stretch it out, scale it up,
Put it on the background.
and then let's reduce the opacity a lot, and then speed it up. And after some color grading, there we go. That was the tutorial on creating the smoke trail effects from Morbius in Adobe After Effects. Of course, if you want to purchase the assets that I used in this tutorial, you can check out our website at ActionVFX.com.
At ActionVFX, we provide high-quality VFX assets for your VFX needs. We have fire, explosions, energy, and many others. You can also sign up for our ActionVFX subscription starting at the low cost of $14.99 a month. This is the most affordable way to access our library, and you can cancel anytime, no contract. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and be a part of our ActionVFX community. And let us know in the comment section below what kind of tutorials that you'd like to see next. And see you next time. Bye bye.